fella. Boy, that is unimaginable, man. Unbelievable, we was. Thank you.
Well, if they have to help, of course, the zone, the Caribbean Sea is now closed down to any other ships coming in that region, so it'd be difficult to ship any ammunition there, whether by sea or whether by air. They're going to be locking that airspace, so it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And Russia and China so far away. Listen to some war analysts. It's going to be difficult for China and Russia to get involved at this point. Hello, are you there? Yes?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes.
Matt, you see Trump leave Zelensky in Ukraine, leave his war, and just go to Venezuela. And Zelensky, that man not getting no help, and he promised him he will help him. He leave him in the hands of Putin. Oh my God. I don't know. I just it hurting me when I watch Zelensky want help from Trump. Trump number one. And he not getting.
Well, we have to continue to watch. We'll have to take a few more phone calls and we'll get to our next discussion. Another heated discussion there. Yes. On the telephone, yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
When we sit down and we listen to the ignorance of our Prime Minister supporting Maduro with the wickedness that he is doing to his people, is he any better than Maduro?
Let's take another phone call. A question here. Hello, yes?
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me any question. I don't have to answer you. You can ask me any question.
Is Maduro stronger than Gaddafi and that other guy?
You mean the guy from Libya and Iraq? Saddam Hussein?
Saddam Hussein, yeah. Is he stronger than them?
No, it's obviously not.
All right. So I'm through with the question.
Right.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much. 449, we'll have to watch. I mean, there's nowhere. I mean, it's chalk and cheese. Maduro can never take on the U.S. there in a war. We have the biggest military ship in the world in the waters of Venezuela. The most technically advanced ship anywhere. And remember when things were good, America was selling wash planes to Venezuela, so they have all the parts. So you never know. It's chalk and cheese. You can't compare the two. We have of course, sit tight. Sit tight. The battle is on for the next hour. We're going to take a break, drink some water, take some coffee. I won my bet. Let's tell you that. I won my bet.
It's officially white potato season in Dominica. To celebrate, Bloombox is giving you the chance to win a 196cc 4-stroke 6.5 horsepower tiller valued at over $3,000. Wow! You heard right. Simply make a purchase of $75 or more between October 13th and December 27th, 2025, and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win this powerhouse machine to make your next planting season even easier. Winner will be announced on December 29th. Visit us at Bloombox Goodwill and Roseau. Terms and conditions apply. Let's bloom together with Bloombox.
It's Kaiso! Yes, the Calypso season is upon us. Saturday, December 13, 2025 at the factory, Valley Road, only $20. 8 o'clock, seating only $30. Come here at the beginning of the season and make sure you're there till the end. Many Calypsonians will be competing. Only 12 gladiators will make it. The grand eliminations for the 2026 Calypso season. Saturday, Saturday, 13 December 2025. Remember, 8 o'clock at the factory. Come hear the funny songs, the serious songs, political songs, everything. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your dog and come. Kaiso, Kaiso, Kaiso. I wanna drink Dominica best rum with you. I wanna drink Dominica best rum with you. Get the body, drink it every day. Give me energy, no right pepper. Get the body, drink it every day. Give me energy. Time today, we went. Okay, my body, my knee, who's ready, full energy. My body, my knee, who's ready, full energy. Okay, boom. Distributed by Belfast Estate Limited. Drink it, but don't abuse it. Okay, boom.
After working hard for many years in London, Goldwyn is now retired and back living in Dominica enjoying his pension. He too shook a smile so we can see the gold teeth and too shook a young. I met him coming out of Floss's with the help of some staff carrying different foods, drinks, and meats to his vehicle. Myself too fast to go and ask the man what's up. Is their story start? Après moi fini travail ouais, so that Kadimo descend Dominic pour finir la hamwe. I said, Goldwyn, speak in English, don't force it. Then he said, I shop with intelligence, yeah? At Floss's, you get the most reasonable prices for the bag flour, rice, sugar, milk, beers, soft drinks, water, rum, and so much more. Prices and quantities to fit your needs, mate. Because you just come down and want to tell me what I know about Floss's already. That's where I shop. It's not you alone that want to save money but still get the quality goods. That's right. And if you're listening to this ad, go and check out Floss's for yourself. Next to the Roseau Market, you can't miss it.
Now opened on Sunday.
What you're looking for is at the best price. What you're looking for is at the
Best price, best price. Everything is nice. And oh, you love the price. Convenient and easy. Make shopping breezy.
The luxury of everything in one supermarket located on the riverbank with parking. Best Price open daily all week with home store decor for every room, pharmacy for all prescriptions and over-the-counter medications, supermarket for all your grocery items, fresh produce and frozen.
What you're looking for is all at Best Price.
What you're looking for is at value.
They say fasten your seatbelts, huh? And this is the talk on the block, and if it's on the block, we'll talk about it. Of course, again, we have Mr. Andy Jolly, and the last minutes yesterday, we actually tried to get to Mr. Joshua Francis. Our topic for the afternoon yesterday was umbrella like the lawyers seem to be under the microscope. A close look at the legal profession. And from all discussions yesterday, it appears that many Dominicans, I will say many Dominicans, including Mr. Jolly here, expressing a lot of concern. And they say that they've said many times, you've heard the lawyers are a club, so they defend each other. we also said, you know, if you had to give a grade, maybe 80% are good lawyers in Dominica. And they represent the people fairly.
Well, yes.
You heard that, huh?
Well, which part represents the people fairly? The 80 or the 20? I think it was less than 20. I think we said it was more like 15%.
You said, I said, give
said
them 20%.
Yeah.
Give them 20%.
15%. 15% good lawyers.
15%.
15. We went down to 15 because I'm going to tell you.
You wouldn't even say 30?
I got too many calls overnight, Matt. I think everybody's name got called. Yeah. I got too many calls last night. I had to drop it down by 5 points because there were more names on the list than we expected.
So you got a lot of private calls.
We got a lot of private calls. We got a lot of bad actors that we thought might have been good actors, but their name came up on the list, Matt. So we're gonna call some names today. And
once you have the evidence.
Well, I don't have any evidence. I'm just telling you the names that got called that I thought were on the list that were above bar, but apparently they might be below bar. So, but let's see how Mr. Joshua Francis. Joshua, yeah,
you guys,
it's a pleasure.
Other lawyers. I mean, I heard a lot of good things about you yesterday. That the lawyers came under the microscope because everybody's complaining about lawyers are not doing their work. Mr. Joshua Francis, how do you defend, accusations like that?
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you. Well, no. We need your opinion because I'm not a lawyer myself, but I slept at a Holiday Inn last night, so I feel like one because I've had to deal with a few bad ones. So you got to know. But it's good to have you here, Joshua, to explain for us.
Well, I'm here basically to clarify things.
Yeah, okay.
I will address components of. I will dissect what from what I heard from Andy yesterday. I didn't hear everything because I had some work to do. But I'm happy to be here this afternoon to add value to the discussion and to clarify certain things that Mr. Jolly may have brought to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here representing the Bar Association or
by no means, which is non-existent, by the way.
There is a Bar Association.
As a matter of fact, I did hear from the president who said she's willing to join me tomorrow.
Well, that's great.
That's good. Because a lot of the problems or questions that we might raise today might be good for explanation. So I hope she's out there listening to Joshua and myself today.
I'm hoping she does. Well, Joshua, in a nutshell, what do you think about the lawyers here in Dominica? Do you think that they doing a good job? I only want to give them 15% as the good lawyers. Would you grade that?
No, I'm not in a position to grade the lawyers or in determining who is good, who is bad.
Okay.
Like Andy, I've heard things. I can speak for myself.
Okay.
Unlike Andy, who has facts in respect to a particular matter, I may have certain facts, but I cannot disclose certain things here because of client lawyers' privileges. And by no means that I am hiding or covering things for lawyers.
You're not hiding anything.
It's a principle. It's a legal principle in our practice that if a client were to have a discussion with a lawyer, then the lawyer ought not to discuss it with anybody else. I mean, that's one of the items or elements that make up a good lawyer, being able to be trustworthy. So I cannot, unlike Andy, I cannot make disclosures as to who is good, who is bad. What I know is that in Dominica has competent lawyers. Some have proven themselves over the years. Everywhere in the world, you find persons who are perceived to be good and those who are perceived to be bad. Sometimes it's just a mere perception. Sometimes it's actually based on facts. And what I can say, and I do want to speak to Andy concerns about the legal fraternity is legitimate. I would not say that Andy, is in a frolic of his own, or he's deluded. No, that's not the case. I believe that there are concerns about us as lawyers.
Several lawyers. But what you can do if you don't want to call their names, when we call their names, you just nod your head.
Well, I hope you wouldn't have to call names.
You don't have to disclose anything. Right. But if we call a name, what you can do is just nod your head.
Right. I hope you don't have to call names.
No,
but
I don't think it's necessary.
It's not necessary.
I think at the core of the discussion, Andy, what your concerns about the legal fraternity has caused is to bring back the topic of a legal professional bill.
That's right.
What is that?
Well, that's a piece of legislation that has been dancing with the legislators in Dominica for over 15 years. There was a particular lawyer who found himself in hot water, and his political opponents went into parliament and said, it is coming, it is coming. And what they were referring to was to pass legislation to regulate the conduct of lawyers in Dominica. So we learned about the legal professional bill, and that has been in discussion from since 2009. A matter of fact, I do have certain articles which were published and dispersed in the public concerning the legal professional bill. In 2008, it was Francine Barron, my learned friend, was the Attorney General of Dominica.
And she was pushing it.
Well, actually, that was in 2010.
Yeah, that's 2010.
September
so this goes
2010.
back 15 years, literally.
Yes.
That this has been owing to the Dominican people.
Right.
Yeah.
So she said to the public that her government was going to enact a legal professional bill. And coincidentally, at the time, Levi Peters, the current Attorney General, was the president of the Bar Association. And he placed on public record that the Bar Association of Dominica would support such piece of legislation. And since
he's not
2010, he's not the AG. So
he's done nothing since then.
Well, in 2016, after he became the AG in 2016, again he came back in the public and said, we are going to pass the legislation, because again there were discussions about the behavior of certain lawyers, the conduct of certain lawyers, and he came out and he said, we are going to pass that piece of legislation. I'm aware that the bill was given to the Bar Association, and the Bar Association members sifted through the proposed bill. And again, it went to sleep. It was placed on the shelf. That is the piece of legislation. And in 2018 and 2019 thereafter, Mr. Levi, the Attorney General of Dominica, again assured the public of Dominica that they were going to enact
so we have a lot of empty
legislation.
promises that nothing has been delivered as yet. But Joshua,
before you get into Joshua, why do you think this piece of bill is being dragged on like that?
Well, I wish if I knew, Matt.
Well, I think, Matt, to tell you the truth, I think that piece of bill might be being dragged on because if that bill is enacted, think of all those bad actors that are there. They are now subject immediately to that bill. So if there were people, for instance, in political positions, and Joshua could probably correct me, and all of a sudden we pass that bill, all of a sudden everybody would be subject to obey it right away. But there are so many people who might be a little shady in there. It's not in the best interests of them or the politicians to pass it. And maybe some of those politicians might be involved as some of those bad actors as well.
What do you think, Joshua?
Well, what Andy's saying has merit. If that piece of legislation were to be passed, it means all of a sudden lawyers can be taken to a disciplinary authority for answering to questions. And if there are current issues happening, maybe started in 2000 or 2001, and then you have an aggrieved party, a client who is in a continuous problem with an attorney over money, land, whatever it is, it means that it's current. And with that legislation, it means that that client may be in a position to file a complaint to an authority, which would be described in the Act, for disciplinary action to be taken against.
Have you had a chance to sort of review this piece of bill?
Back then I did. I can't remember the
exact
contents.
details.
Yes, but there are different areas in the bill to deal with different aspects of the profession.
Why is it so difficult? I wouldn't use the word difficult, but it seems that lawyers in Dominica seem to be dragging their feet, Joshua, and of course Andy will support me on that, as it relates to taking up a case against each other. They say you guys are from the same club.
The lawyers club.
Well, I could say the same about the pharmacists, the Pharmaceutical Society. I could say the same about the Medical Society.
I think there is a club, though, but at some point in time, I think there should be a level of practice that all your peers should be held to. So for instance, I'm going to ask you a question. If I had a case against a particular lawyer and I brought it to you, and well, we all know I have one against Kondwani Williams, but I mean, there's several other names that we could call. Would you as a lawyer take it on personally today? If I brought the case and said, I've been harmed by this person and I would like to file a grievance and have you pursue it to the fullest of the ability, would you take it on?
I have taken up a few matters, and fortunately they were settled out of court.
So you would take on my case?
I would give it
That would
consideration.
no, but would that be a yes or no?
Personally, no, I would not.
You would not.
I would not, and I would not, because Kondwani Williams is not just a Leonard brother. He's a friend. I cannot possibly take a matter against a friend.
Why not? He's done harm. If anything, you should be the friend to put the friend back on the right position. Isn't that what Jesus would want, Joshua?
That can be done privately, not openly. I can chastise a friend. I can speak with a friend privately. I do not have to put him on open display.
But why, speaking not from your position, why would another lawyer not want to? How many lawyers do you think, out of the, let's say we have 100 lawyers in something, how many of them are willing to take up people's battle and go fight it against another lawyer in Dominica?
I think there are several lawyers who are prepared to do that. I have seen materials out there where lawyers are attacking other lawyers and would not even have the courtesy to call the lawyer on the other side to say, look, I have a matter, you may be implicated, let's have a conversation. In my practice, if somebody were to come to me to complain about a lawyer, I pick up the phone and I call the lawyer and I try to deal with the matter in a very amicable way without having to go to
but
court.
The person doesn't really want something amicable. They want to make sure that their grievances are heard and they have a settlement or something that is tangible that they can go forward with. And usually, most of these cases have to do with lawyers who take people's money and don't bring it back. Lawyers who do not give satisfactory settlement. And Matt brought up a good case yesterday where this guy sold a house for close to $500,000. However, when he was given the final payment, it came to less than $100,000, and nobody could tell him what happened to the extra $400,000. So how do we deal with something like that?
Well, in a situation like that, it's for the client to go to his attorney or his former attorney, whoever he wants to categorize him, to ask questions. So you're supposed to collect $500,000. You have only given me $100,000. What happened to the additional $400,000? And it is for the lawyer to answer. In a situation like that, if that really happened, clearly there is something
wrong.
There maybe something wrong. I do not know. Maybe the client was owing that particular lawyer a lot of money. The lawyer decided to remove what was owed to him. I'm just saying, it could be several things.
It's another case that was presented to me yesterday. Somebody paid, poor person, paid a lawyer $400 to just, make a representation on her behalf. She said nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. Another lawyer is saying, well, if you want your money back, sue me. So, but to sue you would cost more than $400. Yeah. So how can you resolve problems like this?
Well, there are other ways. I mean, you could speak with the attorney. If the attorney is unwilling to listen, you get another attorney to speak with that attorney, or you could get a family friend.
That's a difficulty, Joshua.
Right.
Well, Joshua, there's a lot of speaking going on, but I think what most people are looking to hear here, and I'm just gonna bark it out because this is the elephant in the room. Most people want to go through the legal channel. They don't want to, hey, I have a friend, I'm going to talk to the friend, and we're going to meet for drinks later, and we're going to try to settle something. Most people want to see action on paper, a legal case. And if you're doing this friend thing, we might as well just see a therapist.
Well, Andy, the law provides for an aggrieved client to take an attorney to court. It's a civil matter, and if there are criminal elements to a situation or to a transaction, likewise, the client can take criminal action. If, as in your case, a client were to file a complaint at the police station, Roseau Police Station, in respect to a lawyer, and the police is of the view that they have reasonable and probable cause to arrest or charge that lawyer, then the police is supposed to do so. And if the client thinks that the police is not acting for whatever reason, the client has a right to file a private criminal action.
Yeah, but Man and I were talking yesterday, and one of the points that we brought up, which was very interesting, and it's true, the police are actually afraid of the attorneys because they know the attorneys are smarter than they are when it comes to legal issues. The attorneys are actually smarter. And not only that, I'm going to tell you, the CBI attorneys are probably better connected than some of the police officers at their pay grade. So here you are trying to arrest somebody who is better connected than you, who knows people higher up, and who knows the legal system. Don't you think that poses a challenge for our law enforcement? Because the law enforcement don't know very much about legal issues. In fact, I'm going to tell you, I've seen the law enforcement work in Dominica, and it is the absolute poorest I've seen.
Well, and it's a small country. Everybody knows everybody. The ideal situation would be for the police to be impartial and to carry themselves in a professional manner.
Wait, could you repeat that again? The ideal situation would be what?
Would be for the police to be impartial and to show integrity in the administration of justice.
That's true. I agree with you on that point.
Irrespective of color, creed, social, or economic background. But the reality is that we live in a small country and people try to protect each other. You know, we are each other brothers keepers.
Yeah, but we are brothers keepers even though they're doing wrong and they're doing harm to others. Even though they're stealing, they're robbing, they're raping, but we are their keepers still. What does that say about us? We're not very good keepers.
Well, Andy, again, the law provides that if somebody were to do something offensive or to break the law and it's criminal in nature, the police is supposed to take action.
That is true. And we haven't seen any action yet, Matt, right? We haven't seen very much action coming from the headquarters as yet. In fact, I had a meeting.
And how long you been dealing with that case?
Oh, I've been dealing with the case since March.
3 years ago? Or?
No. Well, the case, the issue started 3 years ago. It progressed until January this year. The resolve, which didn't come through, happened in February, and then it was taken to the police station in March. But Matt, you know what I was told? I had a meeting with the officers yesterday concerning my situation. And one of the things that I told them, I said, I am taking a good look at exactly how the police is working. Because here's the thing, Matt. If the police puts me at risk, for instance, they were supposed to arrest the individual, maybe take the passport, maybe close down the office, maybe put that individual in jail. But the police didn't do its job. At that point, don't you have a legal case against the police?
Well, yeah, if you think that the police failed in its duties.
Exactly.
Because the police has a duty to the public.
Exactly. And that's a good reminder. A police duty to the public, not to whoever they feel like. I like that.
Well, let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller?
Yes, Matt, I am there. You have two lawyers in the house, Matt, and you is what? The jury? Anyway, Josh, blessings to you, Josh. I respect you that much. I hope I'm not going to hear no scandal about you. Can you talk, Josh?
Not for long, blessings. Not for long. Make it. This is a short show, blessings. Very short show.
What's up?
Go ahead. No, we say make the point. Make the point. Let's see.
Yes, okay. Josh, we're on once upon a time, and I raised the same issues. The system is set up to fail. The system are particularly against poor people because you have the constitution. It's quite conning. No man is above the law. We're watching criminals every day above the law. They're dying, old age, their family inheriting all what they steal, all the crimes they commit, how they call it, all the proceedings of the crimes they're benefiting. No man is above the law. The other one, a man is innocent until proven guilty. The two guys that die in police custody, one in Portsmouth, one in Roseau, where is the justice for them? Were the families compensated? Were the matter never went to court? So I am watching the manipulation and the maneuvering in politics, in law, in religion and everything, because they use the intellectual jargons and the dogmas within the church, the dogmas, and they just walk all over the people. Matt, I believe when poor people can't get justice, it's time for them to give the alternative is vigilancy or vigilante. You cannot, vigilante. Yeah, vigilante justice. Because I am listening to a man there, educated and influential and rich. Matthew Wish was a millionaire. And what an attorney can do to him, Matt. Can you imagine me, Matt? Can you imagine me? So when you hear them foolishness about Josh, I mean not to offend you, because I know that is within your field of expertise. But when you hear about no man is above the law, and a man is innocent until proven guilty, and you see in live, it's not AI. Before AI, that terminology was there, that term, legal term. So you see a man commit a crime, a mob knock him down to death, and then you're telling me the mob did not have to do that because he was innocent. He had to be brought before the court and all them foolishness there. To me, every time I hear those intelligent people speak and educated people speak, me, my little fish brains, I really take offense. So thank you.
Thank you. It's 2:32 in the afternoon. Please call and be short. 449-3095, 449-3096. Let's take a phone
Just
call.
take a phone call.
Yeah, hello, yes? Good afternoon to you. Speak up.
And good afternoon, Mr. John Lee and Joshua Francis.
Uh-huh.
But you have an interesting team there with you, because I support Andy on a business from a business perspective, but not ideologically, because he's right-wing MAGA and I'm left-wing liberal. Now, Joshua, the funny thing about it, man, is that Joshua knows that even he and the other lawyers, they are really officers of the court, man. Apart from being attorney at law, they are officers of the court. And I remember when Anthony Astafan, a senior counsel, had a case at the CCJ, and he was found lying, Matt. To the CCJ, when they asked him about the Nolly Pross case, but that's in the past, I don't want to bring that up. What I'm saying is that Andy asked George to a question whether he would take up a case against one of his colleagues, another lawyer. And I could see if it's your friend, you might have a little biasness, so you say on that grounds, you mightn't take up the case. But if you have to stand on legal ground, and I want to bring somebody before the court, Joshua should answer the question up. Why not? That's your job. I'm paying you. If you say it's your friend and you might be biased on his behalf and therefore you don't feel it's right, because even though he's guilty, you know he's guilty. You cannot say he's guilty. I could understand that, but to say no, Matt, I think Joshua himself is not being honest. He's not being, because if you're defending the truth and law, my brother, justice is blind. Regardless of what is, you have to. So Joshua wouldn't be a judge then. If I nominate you, I tell the Prime Minister we want Joshua to be a judge. What you going to tell me when your friend come up before you in the bench, you going to watch your like Pilate? I don't think that's how he answered the question, man.
Oh my God.
Let me allow Joshua to answer the question. That's straight to you, Joshua.
Well, first of all,
yes, good.
I don't know why the gentleman who said that I'm not being honest. That's my honest answer. He may disagree. He may have a different position. But just to answer the question he posed in respect to a judge, if someone is a judge friend or a relative and he or she has a matter and it comes up before the judge will naturally recuse herself. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's a small country. I have seen a number of magistrates recuse themselves in matters. I have seen judges recuse themselves in certain matters. So that's customary.
Have you recused yourself on matters?
Well, I'm not a judge nor a magistrate.
No, a lawyer. If a friend comes to you and you in your mind, nah, I can't deal with that matter.
I have done so in several matters. I have had to refer certain clients to other lawyers. I represent them, like for example, in a land matter, but they would have a private matter. And the person with whom they have the issue happens to be a family member or a friend. I would tell that client, I'm going to refer you to another lawyer. Choose another lawyer of your choice, because I do not want to take up that matter. And that's natural, Matt. You're not going to take up a matter against your child or against a brother, against a sister, against your mother. And sometimes a friend can even be closer than a brother. And in Andy's situation, Kondwani is not just a friend. He's my best man. He's the one who stood as my best man when I got married.
Are you divorced now?
Yes, I am.
You see, that's probably why you're divorced. You had a bad best man. You didn't have a best man. You had the worst man, Joshua. That's what you had. You had the worst man. This is why you're divorced now, Joshua. But that explains a lot where your life has gone. But let me ask you a question to bring it back. One of the hot topics we had yesterday on this show again was the fact that there are several attorneys who are gaming the system and possibly using bank accounts, which are personal bank accounts, instead of using bank accounts that are held in trust, or they're using people's personal funds to handle their personal needs. What is the right answer? What's the right way this should be done? And is this a common practice here? I mean, what percentage of lawyers you think are not holding people's money in trust? They're just putting the money in their own account. They might be getting interest on it. They might go buy groceries on your money. They might buy a building in Roseau, maybe the banana tree with your money. I mean, what percentage is doing that?
Well, Andy, I do not have a percentage. I don't have any data on that. What I can say to you is, by practice, when an attorney holds money for a client, it means that the attorney serves as a trustee, and that money is supposed to be placed in a client's account.
So how do you know when you're sending? How do you know when you're sending an attorney money that is not their personal account versus a trust account? Should it have something that says trust on it?
Well, naturally, we as lawyers, we are supposed to be trusted.
I know, but you're not.
So if I have money holding for you, it's supposed to be taken naturally. That money is being held in a client's account. And
so how do we know it's a client's account? I mean, how do we get a statement, or how should we ask the attorney? Can we ask to see what account they're putting it in? I mean, what I'm saying, I'm coming to you as a layperson, and I'm saying, hey, Joshua, I'd like to handle this case, and you said, okay, send me $10,000. How do I know, or when I write that check, how do I know it's actually going in an account that is a safe account versus a regular person's account? How do we know?
Well, Andy, as I said, if you go to an attorney, it is taken that this is a trustworthy person. If you give the person monies and there are legal fees involved, the attorney will extract the legal fees, and the remainder has to be placed in a client's account. So you get a statement, you get a financial statement.
So people are supposed to be getting statements from that account.
Yeah, you're supposed to get not from the account, because
or from the attorney.
From the attorney. So the attorney will give you a statement reflecting what is being held in trust versus what is being paid to his office as legal fees. And naturally, it is taken once a lawyer has money for and on behalf of a client, that money is placed in a client's account.
But is this common practice in Dominica?
I would say it's common practice.
You think so?
Yes, I think it's common practice.
So every lawyer you think that's in Dominica has a trust account? Because we talked to a banker yesterday and he told us the opposite.
Well, I wouldn't dispute that either. Maybe there are one or two lawyers who may take clients' money and put in their personal accounts. But I'm saying to you that I do not have any record, any facts to support the statement that lawyers take money and put in their personal accounts.
Phone call. Are you there, caller? Yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I must come to Joshua's defense this time. If I have a case and I go to Mr. Francis and say, I would like you to represent me against a certain individual, and he says to me, I can't. Ask him why. He says, because I have a close relationship with the individual. I think that's being very honest on this part, because would any one of us, if we were attorneys, would any one of us want to take a case against our brother for a client? I don't think we would do that. And there's what is called conflict of interest. It is absolute conflict of interest if he were to represent me, but at the same time, he has an interest in the other party. So I think it's very honest on his part, and it's very honest on any attorney's part, to not take a case against the friend or individual on behalf of a client. Cool?
All right. We respect your opinion. 449
And it's a correct opinion, too.
Hello, talk to me, yes?
Hey, good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon, Joshua and Jolly.
Yes.
Joshua, I got a question. Do the lawyers practicing in Dominica have a fixed schedule on rates as to what they charge per offense? For instance, on a murder case, do you go and say that the murder case is $25,000, or is it left to any lawyer to decide what they charge you? That's my first question. Second, why is it that you Dominican lawyers seems to be fixated on this thing of retainer, that you give them your money, the lawyers want that's a retainer, and then every time they show up in the court, which you've already paid them to represent you, but however, every time they take a matter in the court, they charge you. Take, for instance, those who go to Laplane Court, they will tell you that you have to pay their day for going to Laplin when you have already paid them to represent you. Why is that the case with the lawyers in Dominica? I'm listening.
That's the second. All right, the first question, as it relates to the murder, and of course, different lawyers charge different rates. Right. Speak to that.
So there are suggested fees for certain legal services.
For example, murder. Let's deal with that.
That depends on the attorney. I'm not aware that we have any fixed schedule of fees for matters such as murder. So it is naturally expected that if you go to a senior lawyer to represent you in a criminal matter such as murder, the senior lawyer will naturally ask for higher fees than a junior lawyer. So it is subjective. So it is for that person who is seeking legal counsel to decide whether he or she is going by lawyer A who asked for $50,000 for the matter, or lawyer B who asked for $10,000.
So there's a little conflict here. Now there are junior lawyers with little experience charging the same fees that the senior lawyers would charge.
Well, again,
how do you deal with
Matt, it is left to the client to use his or her discretion. Matt, there are some lawyers who have vast experience in certain areas. Now, Andy said yesterday
specialization.
We do not have specialized lawyers. I beg to differ. There are lawyers who have developed niches in Dominica. So there's one or two lawyers who are known to be criminal lawyers because for decades they have been practicing criminal law. So you would expect a lawyer who has developed that niche of practicing criminal law to be more competent than another lawyer who has not really been doing criminal law. And therefore, that lawyer, the vast experience, would be expected to ask for more. Because why? Because that lawyer is more competent, that lawyer has a more knowledgeable, has a winning record. Yeah. Because, of course, Matt, something like murder, family wants the murder accused out. You understand? So the family may be willing to pay a lawyer who has a track record of winning those types of cases more money as opposed to a lawyer who does not have a track record of winning. So to answer the question fairly, there isn't a fix.
Should there be is there a database to tell you if you're looking for example a criminal lawyer that's with vast experience? Is there a database or it's just public knowledge?
It's public knowledge.
It's public knowledge.
There's no database.
You're right. But unlike the US, we do not advertise. Yeah, you have these things in the US, but we don't have that here. So lawyers.
It's something that we need here. But with the bar, if we had a bar association
that's working,
that was working, and that we passed the laws, I think that would come along with that. Because it does have room for that in there.
Yeah, but Andy, you take me to the second question about the retainer. You really, when you engage a lawyer, you enter into a contractual arrangement. And contracts are based on consensus ad idem, meaning that whatever the parties agree to. Yeah. So if you go to a lawyer's office and that lawyer says, I want $20,000 to represent you in that matter, it is for the client to give it consideration and to decide whether he or she is going to enter into a contractual arrangement with the lawyer. Now, some clients may go around shopping. Some clients know for sure this is the lawyer they want, and some clients will make 5-6 calls. So if you represent me, no matter how much you would charge. So they go around, they get variant numbers. One says 15, one says 10, one says 20. Yeah. Then the client or the person decides, you know what? Let me assess. Who is that? Lawyer A is more competent based on records. She's asking for 20. Lawyer B, even more competent, but asking for 15. So I'm going to take the 15. So really, retainers are based on the terms and conditions, set out in a retainer between the client and the lawyer.
But I think the question that one caller would ask was, for example, Matt, if you're doing a land transfer title, there is a set fee for that. So there are certain things that there are set fees for. So while Joshua says is right on the other part, if you're buying a piece of land from me, that fee should be transcribed for every lawyer. Every lawyer should charge the exact same amount. A fixed fee. Well, not a fixed, but that exact same charge, because it's based on percentages, what the land is worth. It's 2.5% lawyer transfer fee. All the lawyers should charge that exact fee for land transfer. So land transfer has a set transaction in place.
Yeah, well, yes, that is correct, Andy.
No matter what the price is of the land.
Right, but the suggested fee or the regulated fee, for example, for land transfers, a client pays or supposed to pay an attorney 2.5% of the value of the property or the sales price, whichever is higher.
Yes.
But that does not take away the discretion of the attorney. The attorney can say, give me 1.5%, give me 1%. And that is to the benefit of the client. Who wouldn't want to pay 1.5% versus 2.5%, Matt? So naturally, we are rational. we want to pay less. So if a lawyer offers you 2% or 1.5 versus another lawyer who wants 2.5%, once you have confidence with the lawyer who's asking for 1.5%, then you're likely to gravitate towards that lawyer because, again, you're rational. You want to save money.
All right, let's take another phone call. Yes,
but we have to keep in mind.
Hello. Yes. Good afternoon.
Like I'm in the market shopping for provision. It's like give me, or I will take, or that is my fee. No, I don't like how the terms are being said. It's like that lawyer will say, I will take 2.5, or I will get.
Well, but that's how it is out there. It's not about Josh saying that's how it's presented. If somebody wants to take 1.5 or 2.5 or 2.5, that is their business, you know. And if the lawyer wants to work with you for 1.5, that is also their business as well.
Right, Matt. It only becomes legal if the lawyer.
Let me allow her to finish. Yes, go ahead.
Matt, I understand what you're saying, but listen to me. Listen to how it comes across. I'm a client, and you will tell me, okay, I will take 1.5. Or I'm asking you to do a certain matter, you say, give me, you understand, my service is, or that is what I say, but I'm talking about the radio language he's using. It's something like you're in the market and you're buying carrots, and that person has a bigger carrot, or you could be shopping around. And besides, lawyers should be sitting down and giving and making prices for certain things. Land title, for instance, yes. That divorce case, yes. You know what I mean? Murder cases, you have a range. You don't just coming out of the blue and just tell purposely $50,000, Matt. I mean, even though you can't give us sepsis, but I mean, the bar association should work out like it's a range. So something from 5,000 to, you understand where I'm coming from. And I tell honestly, Matt, some lawyers charging and they know the clients are guilty. They know they're going to go to jail. They know they're going to be convicted. And Matt, out of spite, they really charge exorbitant prices. Honestly speaking, I don't think all lawyers are working in the best interest of the public. They're working in their best interest. But let me tell you, and right now, if you look, everybody now wants to be a lawyer. Look at the newspaper, look at the media. Everybody knows a lawyer. Only lawyers we have in America at the moment because it's a profitable business for them. Thank you.
Joshua, you can defend that. Huh?
Yeah, well, first of all, a lawyer provides a service for which one has to be paid. It's like a medical doctor. And unlike lawyers, and I must say even probably pharmacists, doctors don't mess with your fees. Matt, you go into a doctor's office, and even before you see the doctor, you have to pay consultation fee. Isn't that so? It's very rarely for people to walk into doctors' offices and to tell the doctor, I'll pay you later. It's very rarely. But with lawyers, there are several of us who do pro bono work. I'm not saying there are not doctors who are doing the same, but what I'm trying to convey is that those are services which are being sold. You go to a medical doctor's office, he's selling his service. You got to pay for it. Likewise with an attorney. And you can't take away an attorney's discretion in determining what he or she wants for his or her service. I do agree with the caller that there's supposed to be a range, and there is a range. And it is for the client to decide what is reasonable and unreasonable. Nobody's putting a gun at anybody's head to accept a fee. It's a free market. If you go to lawyer A and lawyer A is asking for a fee which is you consider to be exorbitant, you're not obliged to pay it. Go into another lawyer's office. It's a free market. But we are very loyal in Dominica. There are some persons, because your father has lawyer A, they'll continue going to lawyer A, and they will go in a corner and complain. They will come to me and say, Mr. Francis, I went to that person, and he asked, how much would you charge? I would say, I would charge this. And they say, really? But that is what he or she charged me. I don't comment. I just said, okay, you went there voluntarily. Nobody forced you to go to that lawyer. Nobody's forcing you to continue to pay exorbitant prices. Yeah. So it's a responsibility on the part of our citizens.
Matt, I'm gonna tell you, I've heard quite a few complaints from people. We have a lawyer here, Mr. Leighton, that the fees are exorbitant. And not only that, Matt, here's the problem. I'm going to tell you the way it should be done, which Joshua is probably not telling you, because again, like he's telling you what we do in Dominica, and we all know Dominica is Vike, right? Everybody do everything. Matt, what should be done is the lawyer should have a professional statement. I'm your attorney. I charge in 15-minute increments. Here's how much I charge an hour. I charge $400 an hour, $250 an hour. I will work on your case. Here's how much. I need a retainer of X amount. All that should be written into your contract. It should not be, because here's the thing, Matt. If we go in and they feel Matt has more money than Andy, then guess what's going to happen? He's going to look at you and say, well, Matt has money. Let me charge Matt more. And that is what is going on in Dominica right now, that people are being...
So you're saying there should be a fixed rate across the board?
But Matt, what I'm saying, for each attorney, so if you walk into an attorney's office, they are supposed to be able to give you a sheet that gives them their rate sheet and say, this is how much my office charges to do your work. It should not be left just up to normal conversation. There should be a rate sheet for it. And that is what normal attorneys do. I know I hire 5 of them. I have a lawyer that's $400 an hour. I have another one that's $450. I have one that's $250. They all do different things. And that's what should be done. And it should be presented to each client the moment you walk into that office. Sir, to be in this office, here's what you should. And it should be just like when you walk into Jolly's Pharmacy over there, you see the price tag on the shelf and you say, this is where I want to shop. Or if not, you go to the next establishment and you shop there. That's what should happen. But what's happening right now is price gouging. You walk in and if you're Matt, there's one price for you. If you're Andy Jolly, there's another price for you. Even though it's the same item. Matt kills a guy, it's $10. Andy kills a guy, it's $25. Why should it be? We killed the same person. So again, this is the
person can't die twice.
The person can't die twice.
Well, Andy, that may be your experience, but what you suggested is what really is being practiced.
That's what happened.
But what I'm saying is that in terms of the fees, for example, you walk into a lawyer's office, you will see a sign saying consultation fee. Some lawyers 150, 200,
yes,
250, whatever.
That should happen.
And then if you ask for services from that office, you would be advised as to what are the fees involved. And if you agree...
But that's not being done.
And if you agree, you will get a statement. So, for example, you're taking a private matter and you walk to lawyer A's office. Lawyer A will say, okay, Andy, I can do that matter for you for $10,000. You make a deposit of $5,000. You will either put it in writing, which you sign a retainer, he signs. You pay your $5,000. Your retainer will tell you what to expect, what not to expect.
That never happens. And in a perfect world, I think it happens.
Well, in my practice, Andy, I do it.
Let's take a phone call. Yes. Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
While I'm hearing the discussion between the two, I just wanted to see some blessings to each and every one that's on the panel today.
Okay.
I just wanted to chime in and just catching part of, because holding on to get on part of Andy's what he was saying, and that is so true. I said as a client, first of all, needs to do their due diligence and going to different attorneys, asking questions about the attorney. And second of all, just to piggyback on what Andy was saying, because there was a caller who called earlier that was speaking of, every time he shows up in court that, he was being billed for, every appearance. So here's the thing, when a client goes to an attorney, to be able, as Andy was stating, because yes, we may be from the United States and things are done in a certain way, but there should be a level of similarities when you come to attorneys and clients. There should be, when the client goes into the attorney's office, to list exactly what everything, because you can go, yes, there's a retainer, but what exactly does that retainer cover? And it should be like, is it just a one-time saying I'm taking on your case and there's a one-time fee? Or based on that retainer that you have given the attorney, is everything listed? Okay, you have up to a certain amount of, whatever it is, services I'm going to provide that you do not have to pay extra, for other than what you put on for it. Because if you put $20,000 to an attorney as a retainer, but then every time you go to court or they send you a letter, they have to write us a letter, everything, then you have to pay extra for that. So in there should be a contract that lists all of that to the client prior, and that client, if the client signs everything knowingly, what exactly they're paying for, so that if there is no surprises afterwards. So once you know that there is a certain amount of money that I put on, and once that's, being used, then everything else comes out your pocket. But a lot of times in many of these attorneys, or maybe they have it and maybe clients need to have a second person there with them and read everything prior and make sure they're understanding what the attorney is saying to them, because a lot of times they might speak in, in a certain language that the layman may not understand. And now he signs this contract with this attorney, not knowing everything that is encompassed in that contract that he's signing, and make sure they know exactly what they're being charged for and what not. Just like a lady called yesterday or earlier talking about, the attorney had owed her $900, and to the attorney it may seem like $900 is nothing. But the regular person over there, $900 means a lot. So I think there's a lot of sham that goes on in the legal service here. And yes, you should charge whatever it's, in your, to charge, but at least the client should be aware of what they're being charged for, and the honesty, because there's a lot of dishonesty within that field, and we know it. And though Joshua, I know he's cool, but may not say everything, because he's an attorney, and yes, he's not going to stand against other attorneys, knowing that he has to deal with them every day he goes to court. He has to deal with his judge every time he goes to court. When I was in New York, I would go to a restaurant, and here I may have an attorney friend, and here you're sitting with the judges, and they're sitting discussing your case, and it's like prosecutors, defenders, judges, they're all in that same, good old boys club and sitting down talking about your case. So we have to be aware of that also. Thank you. Have a great.
Thank you. To somebody, I think one politician there, former leader of the Freedom Party, says, man, the Legal Profession Act was read twice in Parliament. And the third reading was scheduled to be read to make it law. The weekend before the third reading, several sections of the act was being read on Q95, and they were finger pointing as to which lawyers will go to jail and who was guilty. I didn't know that. It was that. It was clear that neither the lawyers nor the bar expect the far-reaching responsibilities and accountability required of them. They were calling out lawyers defending this government. Rumors had it that the PM had to cancel the third reading. That's a former freedom. So maybe
that's true. That's definitely true.
Yes,
the bill did appear in Parliament.
Almost the third reading.
Yeah. I don't have your recollections of exactly.
That's what we talked about.
Third reading, but yes.
That's what we talked about earlier.
Maybe that discussion that you have been having with Andy.
No, we talked about earlier. A lot of people, in fact, Matt, it was given that we would lose almost half the attorneys in Dominica if that bill went into play. And we would probably still lose half.
Maybe I should call the AG to find out what's wrong.
We should get who would be nice to get in here, Matt?
Yeah.
The AG.
The AG.
Because the AG was a big supporter of this bill, and obviously it's now gone silent, and we want to know why he's gone dark. But Matt, I want to tell Joshua, it's nice what he's explaining here, but I would really like if he explains what happens in Dominica, because if I was getting a statement from Kondwani, I would have known when my $1.5 million went somewhere, and I would have said, Kondwani, it doesn't look like I have any money in my statement, sir. What happened? So obviously, everything you're saying there, whether it be getting the statement, signing the contract, doing this, none of that happened. And I'm just going to let you know off the record, this is the best or worst man at your wedding, and nothing happened, Joshua, here. So we need to try to put things in order was the Dominican way. When you talk on the block, it's what is happening in Dominica on the block.
Let's take a phone call. Are you the caller? Sorry.
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Hello, Matt. Good afternoon.
I'm right here. Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon. And good afternoon to Josh, and good afternoon to to have Mr. Jolyon there more often. Eh?
We need.
Yeah. I've got a question for Mr. Francis. Which I know while I was in England, it happens with lawyers. If a client comes to you, Mr. Francis, and says, "I have a case. I think I have a very good case. But I have no money, sir. I cannot pay you no retainers fee. I can't pay you anything. But would you take the case? And if I win the case, I can pay you, instead of 2%, I can pay you 25%, which I know happens sometimes, used to happen in England, still happens. So it means that the lawyer takes the case on the basis that he feels he will win the case. And if he wins the case, he gets a bigger share. But if he loses the case, he gets nothing. Mr. Francis, would you take that case?
So, thank you for your question. I have taken several cases like that. You call that contingency fees. You know, you get paid based or contingent on the success in the matter, particularly personal injury cases. And this, you know, referred to accident cases. And I'm aware that there are several lawyers who do the same.
449-3095-96 and 97. These are the numbers to call. Another matter that came to mind, I'm Joshua and Andy, in terms of the banks. I have been dealing with some cases. Of course, I do a little real estate sometimes, and you go to the bank and they said, I want to work with this particular lawyer.
Yes.
And there are lawyers who you may feel confident in working with, but the bank chooses their lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of noises quietly has been, around. What's your view on that? Josh, I'm sure you have dealt with it.
Well, I think that's wrong. I think that a customer should have his or her right to decide who he or she wants to represent him or her in a matter. The bank also has an argument that it has to protect its interests because, take for example, if Andy goes to National Commercial Bank for a loan to buy a property, which he's unlikely to do,
Andy. Well, that's probably because I don't have an account at National Commercial Bank, man. That's probably the reason why I don't have an account.
I was wondering why. Anyway,
Right.
just in
Right.
case.
And Andy wants to buy this property for $5 million, and he needs an attorney to execute the documents. The bank will say, Andy, you want to go with Mr. Francis, but Mr. Francis is not one of our lawyers. And Andy may protest.
Is that the bank's choice?
Well,
or your choice?
Well, the bank has not been giving people choices, except in some cases, powerful people like Andy would get the bank to go on its knees and to respond favorably.
Well, actually, I may be, but I'm going to tell you, in a case like that, I would probably actually prefer using the bank's attorney. And the truth is that a lot of banks, they screen and usually have some sort of agreement with an attorney, meaning that attorney has passed whatever stipulations that the bank has. I'm going to tell you, Matt, doing a real estate transaction is usually quite a bit of money. Like he said, if I was buying a property for $5 million, here it is that I'm trusting somebody with $5 million. Here it is that I could give the person my $5 million and they could end up in St. Kitts tomorrow without finishing or closing the transaction. So what the bank does is usually legally tie up those attorneys to make sure and screen those attorneys to make sure that those attorneys are good actors. So I am going to tell people, if an attorney works with the banks, that's usually a good attorney.
Not all the time, though.
Not all the time, but usually, as I said. And not only that, if the bank is giving you the money, the bank wants to make sure that that money is distributed properly, the title is handed back to the bank, because again, the bank is buying the house, but they have to receive back title.
Let me explain to you what has been happening. Let me explain.
Only in Dominica on Talk on the Block.
Let me explain to you what has been happening. No, the bank will talk to, or the lawyer will talk to somebody within the bank and whisper, if you give me that deal, I'll give you a cut.
Well, again, Matt, isn't there a song about that? Everything for a cut.
Yeah, well,
it could possibly happen. But again, we're doing that. We're trusting that the bank is doing their due diligence and they're making sure that that person is certified to make sure that that happens. And whether the person gets a cut, not get a cut, the interesting thing is that we want to make sure that the bank gets the title, the person gets the property, and anything that happens within this, usually as long as the fees are normal, we don't care about.
Well, Andy, to be honest, I listen to you, but I don't think that argument is good enough to justify what the banks are doing.
Put a pin there. Let's take a phone call. Yes? Hello? Yes.
Yes, Matt. Good day.
Yes.
Good day to Mr. Joshua.
Yes.
And good day also to Mr. George. I have been listening to them concerning lawyers, and some of the lawyers, they are just not being trusted. As I called yesterday and I spoke about two pieces of that I got. And I went to a particular bank for a loan, but then they had their own lawyer. But the lawyer was out of state and didn't know when that lawyer would have come back. So I told him, okay, and that's the lawyer who is interested. And she told me, go to them and tell them that she will do the transaction for me. And they agreed. They told me, okay, if I can trust the person, it's okay. They will delete the person. And I do everything. She did all the papers, everything for me. But not what she did. The deal she gave me was that she would charge me less money than the bank's lawyer. That is one, she did not stand her ground up. Next, usually when you go to the bank, they usually give you money, but they give you a little extra, but in case you know you have other things to do, they will not give you this, this same amount. They will not give you that. Because she held that money, and I told her so. Imagine the person that I bought the land from. I told him, did you receive your money? Tell me, yes. I told him, how much money did you receive? Because I knew the amount of money that I would have to pay the person. He didn't tell me, look, that is the amount I got. I said, but the lady has money for me. She has to take whatever she's there. And I didn't worry about she telling me that she would, charge me a little less than the other lawyer. But my God, my excess money. Give me my excess money. You holding it, and I'm telling you that you holding it. And she died with my money, but she must be trembling in her breath because I saw it's not me alone. She thief like that. So the lawyers not behave themselves. Stop thieving people money. Do a just job and you will be judged. You'll be well blessed. Thank you.
All right, another caller there. Hold on. We have a few more minutes. Are you there, caller? Yes?
Yes, madam, there.
Good day.
I would just like to ask Mr. Francis, why would a lawyer take money for a will that was basically null and void? Because my mother died and my father died 4 years later. My father left everything for my mother. When we went to a lawyer, he took $12,000 to probate that will, which was not making sense to me, because my mother herself did not have any will. So why would a lawyer take $12,000 and that will was not supposed to be?
Something went wrong with your telephone. Another phone call. Yes. Hello? Yes?
Yes, peace and blessings. I wanted to ask a quick question or to pose something out there, especially when Andy spoke about, making a deal with a bank here, $5 million or something like that, or even with you, Matt. Do you think, or in my suggestion, I believe that especially when you're going to sign some kind of contract, well, the banks now, we know what's going on with the banks now in Dominica. And so being able to make big investments, and we talk about, signing putting money in the bank, and then sometimes, if you're dealing with someone other than the bank's lawyer, that person might disappear with your money, going to St. Kitts. But at the same time, even with here in some of the banks, and what we're hearing is going on with the banks here. We have 2 banks left in Dominica that today they're here, and who knows if tomorrow they might be there and your money is tied up in there. But my question is, do you think, especially when you're signing some kind of contract like that, even if you may not be able to bring your own attorney on file, can you bring that attorney as an advocate just to be able to listen to a lot that's going on? And even if probably on paper they may not be able to represent you, but even if you may have to spend a little bit extra to bring someone else with you so that they understand the language between that person and yourself. So when you're signing these contracts, you sign in knowingly what you're signing into and not something that's per se the fine print. Because a lot of times people are not reading the fine print, that the end of the because and everything else is null and void. So going in and having a second opinion or someone to be able to explain to you exactly what is being done so you understand it fully before you sign. Because I tell people, once you put your signature on something, it is that. That's why in court they say, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And if it's not in black and white, then he says, she said doesn't mean anything.
All right. No, we're going back to you, Joshua, because you're talking about you don't really necessarily agree with Mr. Jolly's point as it relates to the lawyers and the banks.
No, I don't. Because a person taking a mortgage, a borrower, he has to pay the fees. And he should have a right to decide who he wants to represent him. It's not like the bank is doing him a favor. The bank is imposing
but the
its
bank's
lawyer on
giving
him.
them the money.
Yeah, but it at a high interest too, with oppressive terms.
Yeah, but the bank's giving when the bank's spending the money, the bank should determine who they use to do their complete their transaction.
And then the borrower has to pay back the money with interest, especially mortgage facilities. You know how oppressive that can be.
Yeah,
You for the first 10, 15 years you pay interest. I think that a borrower should have the right to decide
a choice.
who he wants to be his attorney.
I don't think so. There's a simple way to solve all of this, Matt. And we're sitting here and we're being extorted, by all these attorneys in Dominica, and we're probably being, the banks are doing their best to get by everything as well. And here's all we have to do in Dominica: we need to start opening an escrow company. And an escrow company would solve everybody's problem. So probably Joshua can explain to us what an escrow company is. For the people that don't know out there, if Dominica opened one escrow company, all our legal problems and lawyer problems would go away today. A legal and a title company would take away just about every problem we have in Dominica. But again, do the people above us really want something like that? Because no, it's impartial and it regulates everything and everybody fairly.
I don't think that will solve the problem.
Really?
No, it won't.
The escrow company?
Because for the success of any institution, the players and actors must have integrity. So, for example,
well, it puts integrity on both sides if you have an escrow company, because there's an individual, a God in the middle of us.
Right. Yes, like everything else.
What about opening an escrow account for a client?
It comes at a cost, and who's going to take responsibility? Who's going to be at the cost?
Listen,
for the operation of the escrow
I just
company?
lost $1.5 million with Kondwani. I will pay it.
Well, for you, that's okay, but the ordinary Dominican don't want an additional fee in conducting.
I would take the additional fee. Listen, I'm going to tell you, maybe we have 100, 150 lawyers in Dominica. We have 75 Kondwani Williams in Dominica.
Well, I don't know how you came to that figure. I really don't know. And I'm not too sure what that's supposed to mean.
Well, let's take a phone call.
I don't know how you came to that figure, Andy.
Hello, talk to me. Yes. Are you there, caller?
Yes, but I'm going to put what I was saying in a question to Mr. Francis. Joshua, do you believe after somebody left whatever they had to their wife, and the wife preceded them in death by 4 years, and when that person dies, the person taking care of his business goes to a lawyer, should that will be probated at all? Should that be probated?
I don't quite get everything, but if the wife is the beneficiary and the wife predeceases the testator, then you have what you refer to as a chain of succession. So whatever the deceased wife ought to have benefited from, if there are issues of children, the children would become the beneficial owners.
Are you there? Oh, you're gone.
I think, Matt, what the question he's asking is basically the wife died, and everything supposedly belongs to the husband. What he was saying is that all you should have done is just probate the husband and move forward. But the caller also has to know, in a legal situation, if the wife owned things, it then needs to be passed on. So if the wife had property, that property needs to move on to somebody else. Or it needs to be moved on to the children, or it needs to be moved on to the husband. So even in my case of my dad, for instance, when my dad died, we had to probate my dad's will. And everything then passed on to but it doesn't automatically pass on. And this caller is not getting that. You have to do the first probate of the first person. So everybody who dies should get probated. And I think that's the caller called yesterday, that same question. Everybody who dies, if the wife dies, she should get probated. If the husband dies after, he should get probated. So everybody who dies gets probated, and that's the end of the story.
Are you there, caller? Hold on,
yes.
Joshua. Are you there, caller?
Yes, I'm there, Matt.
Yes.
Gentlemen, helpful discussion this afternoon.
Thank you.
So I want Mr. Francis to address this question. Mr. Francis, you give some lawyers to check for your certificate when it comes to certificate of title, and they take years before you can get the certificate of title. How long, you as a lawyer, how long you feel it should take for somebody to transfer a certificate of title? In other words, I buy a piece of land for me to get my certificate of title. How long you feel that is a reasonable time for a client to get a certificate of title?
Well, it depends on the type of transfer. Sometimes, if you're talking about a transfer of one portion of land, those are faster because a surveyor does not have to get involved to hatch off land. But where hatching off is involved, it means that for the process to be completed, a surveyor has to appear at the title registry to hatch off that portion which is being transferred. And sometimes surveyors can be so busy that they take a long time before they do the hatching off, and therefore the registrar of titles cannot process and to present a title. Oftentimes, clients would give the lawyers a job to execute a memorandum of transfer, to register a memorandum of transfer, and the client would be, oh, that's taking a long time. What I want to say to the public is what you want to know is that the lawyer, in fact, filed the memorandum of transfer. That is important because sometimes a lawyer may say, oh, we're waiting on the registry when the memorandum of transfer has not been filed. So it's the client's responsibility to go to the title registry to see whether that memorandum of transfer has been filed. Once it is filed, then it is not the lawyer to be blamed as far as processing the title, unless if the file is out of order. So sometimes we may file something at the registry. The registrar may put it out of order because of some deficiency or irregularity with the memorandum of transfer. So in situations like that, it's for the attorney to take responsibility. So it all depends on the nature of the transfer.
On the telephone, are you there? Yes?
Ask Joshua Francis why Judge Pearl Williams is not in Dominica. Ask Joshua Francis what he knows about CIBC First Caribbean Bank not being in Dominica, because the gravy train has stopped for all them lawyers. And if they investigate, remember, the bank manager is involved in the theft. That means they would have to open up the books.
As a matter of fact, I did try to investigate, the same law we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
And caller, your comments there, you have to be very careful with the kind of comments you made, because I'm hearing there from the lawyers that you went into a lawyer's office and threatened to, even kill. You have to be very careful with your statements as to what you say and how you say it. So be very, very careful. But Joshua, do you know anything about Pearl Williams?
No, I don't. I honestly, if that person had a conversation with me concerning the magistrate, Miss Williams, then I cannot recall. I really do not know what he's talking about.
What about Joshua? I know we had a deal, Matt, where our prime minister transferred a large portion of land in Mont Daniel, but the valuations were off. How do you feel about things like that? Basically, the land was being transferred, and maybe we're just gonna put some figure.
Right.
Maybe the land everywhere around the land was worth $20, but here we have our prime minister. I think it was said that the prime minister was trying to transfer it at $4.50,
less than the value.
Less than the value. So, how do you feel about different lawyers literally doing favors to politicians to make sure that they can get on their good list so that maybe they can get cases in the future, or politicians themselves abusing the system? So do you think the system or the legality system is fair in Dominica? That I'm just asking you, is it fair in Dominica for all Dominicans?
Well, Andy, first of all, a point of clarification. It is not the attorney who is responsible for valuation of properties. That is a matter that goes directly into a surveyor's heart.
Mhm.
A surveyor is responsible to value a property. And if that's the case, that surveyor ought to have been placed under the fire.
Yeah, but the attorney fees are determined by the value of the survey.
That is correct.
So
Not
I
just the
would-
attorney fees, the
so
government
the
fees as well.
government fees as well.
Right.
So there it is, that if somebody surveys their land at the wrong value, they're cheating the government
that
on
is correct.
taxes, and
Right.
not only that, they're cheating the attorney. I cannot see an attorney being okay with that. Can you?
Well, as I said, in a case like that, I mean, I have an idea what the value of property is at Mont Daniel for Dominica. So if I
Exactly.
get a valuation,
What are you going to do?
value,
Yeah, you going to turn it away?
I will ask questions. I will ask questions. I have had matters like that, I
Yeah.
mean, Andy, the reality is you get matters where people are seeking for favors. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. We're human beings. Some people are more financially fortunate than others. So people may be looking for a favor from an attorney, from a surveyor.
Mhm.
And that's okay. But the problem only arises when we do unethical things.
Okay.
So that's an issue of ethics as well. And in that regard, maybe you can talk about a code of conduct or ethics for surveyors.
Mhm.
And likewise for doctors, because we may not get the time here to talk about doctors and pharmacists.
So are
but
we?
it would be interesting
So we
for us
dragging
to-
surveyors with lawyers. So surveyors and lawyers. So the surveyors are bad and the lawyers are bad.
Well,
We-
just as we can talk about doctors and pharmacists, because Andy, likewise, there are concerns about the medical
Yes.
practice in Dominica as
There-
well.
there are.
At the hospital, in the private practice,
Mm.
and maybe on another program, you may not be an authority on the matter as far as medical practices, maybe
Mhm.
pharmaceutical practices.
Yes.
So, for example, I'll just give an example. I mean,
Mhm.
lawyers have been under the microscope for the past couple of days, but likewise, I could say some people have concerns about certain medical doctors who facilitate illegal abortions. I had a matter just recently where a lady called me to say that her child was bleeding profusely, and her child was only 16 years old.
Wow.
And the child was bleeding profusely.
Aren't abortions illegal in Dominica?
Well, exactly. So
therefore, right away, you as a provider should call the police and said, "Here's what happened." Immediately, please arrest so and so for the illegal act. But did you do that?
No, I cannot be the complainant, Andy. I can advise the parents.
Let me put a pin there. So
Yes.
when pharmacists, Andy, to be fair to Joshua, get
Yes.
involved in that,
Mhm.
do we call the
Wait,
police or the pharmacist?
I'm going to tell you the truth is we're mandatory reporters. If you're in the medical business, if you see something, you have to say something, because here's what happened, Matt. If I know about this and I don't say something, a legal case can be brought against me by the medical board. So if I know, for instance, Matt's using drugs bad and he's not supposed to, and Matt's I have to report it.
For example, there are pharmacists we have known who issue drugs.
Yes.
To persons so they can commit abortion. What do you do with this pharmacist?
Well, again, as long as it's illegal, you should be a mandatory reporter. If you know something, you have to say something. Again, this is the rule of profession. I know as a pharmacist, if I am aware of something, if somebody, for instance, maybe they steal the drugs in the pharmacy, maybe they did something incorrect, I am forced by law to report it. If I don't report it, I literally have killed the oath and I will be sanctioned. And that's how I know it. Maybe that's not how it works here in Dominica, but I know I have reported lots of people. I have literally filed reports, literally for pharmacists stealing drugs, for pharmacists abusing drugs, for pharmacists miscalculating drugs. I have to do it. I'm a mandatory reporter because whatever they do to them, they will pass the equal amount to me if it's found out. Again, pharmacists, nurses, doctors are supposed to be mandatory reporters.
On the telephone, are you there? We don't have too much time. 6 more minutes. Yes, we have a burning issue there. Hello, talk to me, yeah?
I videoed the incident, yeah? So tell the lawyer, and I'll bring the video to your office tomorrow.
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Yes, talk to me, yes?
Hey, Matt Gus again.
How you doing?
Joshua, you spoke earlier on the bill that is sitting and taking dust at the AG's office. Will that, from what you've seen in the draft, does it include a code of ethics for lawyers or guidelines? And secondly, we are not inventing the wheels anymore. We just have to duplicate. There is a legal professional bill in other countries. Would you just be factored in something similar to that? I sent you on your cell phone information on a case. So when you go, you can check it when you finish, right? And so, you know, if that will be a part of the code of ethics. And what do you think of a lawyer who says, "I'll take your case, and no matter what you do, she will not tell you how much it's going to cost you, or he will not tell you. But as you go along, they're pinching more money out of you, pinching more money out of you." Is that ethical? And Jolly, Cytotec is not fine
Yes.
now, is it?
It's a legal drug as far as I'm concerned.
Let's just
Right,
wrap up here.
You're right. Just to answer the caller, yes, there is an area of code of ethics in the legal professional bill, and of course, it's to help regulate the legal practice to ensure that legal practitioners can account to the public. Because of course, at the end of the day, a lawyer really rests his success on his reputation, and the code of ethics supposed to help in that regard. And that's really an important piece of legislation that ought to have been passed already.
Was a lawyer ever debarred in Dominica?
That's a good question,
right.
Joshua. Have we ever seen anybody lose their license or be punished or sanctioned in
Or
Dominica,
disciplined
in Dominica.
no.
Have we ever seen that happen in Dominican history?
Not that I'm aware of, because again, we do not have the legal framework for that. But I'm aware that has happened in Barbados, in Trinidad, in Jamaica,
St. Lucia,
right?
just about every other island.
Right, and just to answer.
So we Spain, Dominica is a different country.
Well, in many different ways, we are. I mean, we are. I am subject to correction, but I was trying to do some research to ascertain whether we are the only island in the Eastern Caribbean without a legal professional.
Only island.
Only
Man, we
island.
talked about that yesterday.
So we need to bring the AG here.
Yeah, we need to bring
you
the
should,
AG.
I mean,
we shouldn't bring the Noeliza. We should get the AG. Man.
Right.
We'll bring Noelis first.
This is above her pay grade.
Is that a question of governmental incompetence, carelessness? I mean, the government has a responsibility to protect the public.
Well, it
because
shows
we are-
government incompetence, and it goes back, Matt, to what we were talking about. The government of Dominica, the Labour Party government, 25 years under Mr. Roosevelt's carrot, we have gone nowhere in Dominica. We're still where we were back 25 years ago. Everybody else has left and moved on, and Dominica again is behind in one more thing.
And one country on that planet there.
Yeah.
Let's take a phone call quickly. See, are you there, caller?
Yes, I am there.
Yes, quickly. Yes.
Mr. Jolly, I think you should run for office. I would fly out from Delaware right now and come and campaign for you. You sound like a very honest man compared to that dishonest so-called Prime Minister. Have a good day.
Mr. Jolly, you've
Thank you,
been
thank you.
invited in the ring many times.
Well, you know, I had one more question for Joshua while we're here, and
We have 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes, but
Yeah.
Joshua,
yes,
based on what, and this is why I'm going to ask you this question, because, like you said, he was the worst man at your wedding. Based on the conduct that Mr. Kondwani has exhibited, as you know the story. What do you think should have happened? In my case, when I brought this to the attention of the authorities, when I raised the awareness that this is what do you think should have happened? Honestly, please give us your honest opinion.
So when you say you brought it to the attention of the authorities, to be more specific, you made a police report.
We made a police report.
All right.
We brought it to his attention. Again, the statement, the money has been gone, and there's a good chance we're not getting back the money too. I found out last night, Matt, because the banks are actually taking action against Kondwani Williams as well too. So what do you think should have been done?
Well, generally, any report that is made to the police station at the police headquarters in Roseau or any police station in Dominica, it is the responsibility of the police to act on that report. Once the police is of the view that there's reasonable and probable cause to investigate the matter, the police is supposed to take action, investigate the matter, and in the investigation,
Impartially.
impartially,
Yes,
of
yes,
course.
of course.
I mean, and should the police gather information which would suggest that there is an offender, so you made a report against a gentleman or a lady, whoever it is, and the police has reasonable and probable cause to even arrest the person.
But what's
subject
the
to further
timeline
investigation.
for that happening? They made the report 3 months ago, and they finally did something about it last week, Tuesday. So,
Well-
I mean, do you think this might have gone too far?
Well, the Constitution of Dominica provides the criteria as to how much time it should take. It says a reasonable period of time. A reasonable period of time should be 3 days.
3 days.
But
So
because
2,
you're
3
looking
days.
at an accounting matter,
Oh, so this is an accounting matter,
Yeah,
not a
money is
theft.
involved. Well,
So you
again,
don't think Kondwani stole the money? You
That
think it's an accounting? You think it's been misplaced
when
on
I
a
say
balance
accounting
sheet?
matter, I'm
Yeah.
talking about cash, money. Money is involved.
L'argent.
So again, a police officer in his capacity as an investigator, of course, would need a financial statement. He would have to look at what agreement that happened between you and the gentleman.
How you provide all of that?
You know?
I provide, but I thought he was talking about looking at Mr. Kondwani Williams' financial statements to see where the money went to.
Well, he
Because
would
that
get to that point in his investigation. He may make that request.
Yeah.
Because again, he would
Yeah.
have an interview not only with you,
Okay.
but with the accused. So he
Mhm.
would also call the accused, have a conversation with him, and to
Mhm.
ask some questions. And of course, it's for the accused to clarify or to defend or to provide information.
And then what
as
should happen
requested.
after that? You think he should at least be arrested or something?
Well, that
If-
depends on the investigation. If the police, is of the view that
How many lawyers have actually been arrested in Dominica? I mean, we talked about possibly discipline, but how many lawyers do you know have actually been arrested in Dominica?
Well, I was arrested, but not for money. But
so you're the only lawyer that
no. I was arrested over a bogus matter,
I know, but how many lawyers do you think have actually been arrested now?
I know of another lawyer who was arrested over, perverting the course of justice. I know another lawyer who was arrested for battery and assault. I know another lawyer who was arrested for misrepresentation in a passport.
Contempt of court.
Put in the cell too.
Yeah, in a passport matter.
Okay.
So I know about 5
So they do arrest lawyers.
Yeah, lawyers to be
So
arrested.
there is hope for me.
Wait your turn.
I don't know whether I'm supporting you on that one. Again, I'm not the police
So
officer. I'm not
there
in
is
that
hope. So
capacity.
I should keep my fingers
Well,
crossed.
the hope that
my-
I have for you, Andy, is that you get back your money. That's the hope. I don't
But
know.
there should be no arrest. You don't support arrest.
I hope arrest has a place. If the police has to arrest somebody,
But
for offending-
you're not with the police in supporting that they arrest your former best man.
I am supporting that Andy gets his money back. Justice.
We're gonna go. We've got to go. We'll continue until. And this is the Talk on the Block, Dominica. We've got to go. Tomorrow we're expecting Noel's Knight, the president of the
Bar Association.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Gone again. No more will I see your smiling face. Gone again. Yet another memory to erase. Gone again. There's no more sunshine. Just with the rain. So even if I cry, it's happening again. Love's on the run again. A pretty smile that brought sunshine to the rain. A touch that soothed away my pain and pain. The laughter and the joy, the good times we shared. You walked away, gone, said, yeah. Gone again. No more will I see your smiling face. Gone again. Yet another memory to erase. Gone again, there's no more sunshine to trace away the rain. So even if I cry, it's happening again. Love's on the run again. We would sit up late to count the stars. I look up now and all I see is Mars. The colors are all gone, yet I feel so blue. Please not again. Oh, gone again. No more will I see your smile. It's gone again. Yet another memory to erase. Gone